Good morning, my dear ones. My name is Thay Kozen. I'm a monk at Mount Adams Buddhist Temple. And we're sitting in our new temple. It's quite exciting. We now have floor heat and we're not freezing in here anymore. Today, I want to tell you the story of Angulimala. And Angulimala is famous throughout both Theravada and Mahayana traditions, and also our Vajrayana brothers and sisters have great awareness of Angulimala. At the time of the Buddha, about 2,600 years ago, there were no formal big colleges, but there were great teachers. And students would go with these teachers and spend time with them. And after they had achieved a certain level of mastery, students would be then sent out to do their work or to start their own schools. Well, there was this one young man of the Brahmin caste, I think, and he was studying with this teacher, and he was so good. He was smart and clever, and being so clever and smart and praised so much by the instructor, the other students became jealous. And so they would whisper to the headmaster, you know, this guy is making eyes at your wife. He's not a good guy. And after a while, the instructors kept saying, no, 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 that's not so. But one time walked in and saw his wife and this individual laughing. All of a sudden, he became very jealous and yelled and screamed and kicked this young man out of the school. And the young man was devastated. What do I do? I mean, this was my whole life. And so the young man went to his fiance's house. And at that time, marriages were arranged well in advance. In modern day India, there's still arranged marriages that happen. And this young man went to his fiance's house and said, you know, I was kicked out of the school. I don't know what to do. And the girl's family said, well, you can't marry our daughter then. Get out of here. Go away. So this young man, dazed and unhappy, returned to his own home and told his parents he was kicked out of school. And his parents said, well, you're useless. Get out of here. We don't want any part of you. And so this young, tormented, twisted, painfully suffering young man went back to his teacher and said, all right, I'm so sorry. Whatever I did, I don't know what I did, but what do I do? What do I do now? How do I get back in school? And the teacher, in an offhanded way, said, well, bring me the fingers of 1,000 people that you've killed, and I'll let you back in the school. Essentially, the teacher was telling him in a very traditional, old-fashioned Indian way to go fly a kite. It's not going to happen. Well, this young man was so overwhelmed with grief and sadness and harm that he went out in the forest and he thought, 1,000 people that I've killed. Okay. So the first person that came by, he killed them, cut off their fingers, and put them in a pile in the forest. And he said, I'm going to have this pile of fingers here. When I get 1,000 people's fingers, I'll take it back to my old teacher and I'll be okay again. And his madness went on and gave him great strength, not quite as strong as Emily, but great strength nonetheless. And so this enraged, powered by insanity and fear and grief, kept killing people. And he became so strong that if villagers heard that he was around the area, they'd all vacate the village. 10 men tried to tackle him down, and he killed them all with their fingers. We had this big pile of fingers in the forest, and the forest critters thought this is just like having Kentucky Fried Chicken right there. So every forest creature stopped and got a finger and took it home to their family, and pretty soon he was down to no fingers at all. Well, being a clever, insane man, he said, I know what I'll do. I will string the fingers together and wear them a necklace around my neck. And that's how he got his name. Anguli, which means finger, mala, necklace. And many of us have necklaces that we wear of Buddhist rosaries around our neck or our wrist. And those malas that we wear usually have 108 beads around our neck and have religious significance for many of us. Well, Angulimala, finger necklace guy, went around killing more people, adding to this again and again and again. And the story goes that the king heard about it, was going to go out and capture Angulimala and take care of him and kill him because he was such a terror in the neighborhood. Well, Angulimala's mom, like mothers everywhere, knew her son had a few little problems, but really wasn't that bad. So she said, I'll go out and warn him to hide for a while so that they don't kill him. The Buddha, hearing that the mom was going out to rescue her insane son, said, I'll go out and stop him from killing his mom because he's crazy. So the Buddha went out and walked, and Angulimala saw the Buddha walking and went, oh, more fingers. Hey guys, stop. And the Buddha just kept on walking. And Angulimala tried to catch up to him, but as fast as he ran, he never quite caught up to the Buddha. He yelled, stop, stop. The Buddha turned around, and in a very famous line that's quoted to this day, the Buddha said, I have stopped foolishness and suffering and rebirth. Angulimala, you stop. And at that point, Angulimala went back, and a little bit of sanity returned to him. And he said, well, I can't stop. I mean, I'm pretty terrible. I've done all these things. And the Buddha said, you have the right to change. You have the right to be whole, to let go of the madness and to become a productive member in our society. Shave your head, become a monk. So at that moment, Angulimala reached sanity. Not quite as sane as perhaps Darcy is, but pretty close. And so Angulimala followed the Buddha back, shaved his head, wore the orange robes of the monks at the time. And at that time, right there, what happened was that Angulimala, realizing all his past errors, became a man of kindness and love and serenity. While the king, still pursuing this madman who was killing people, ended up at the Buddha's campsite. And he said, oh, noble one, we're here to capture and kill Angulimala because he's a terror and he's terrorizing the country and killing people. He's just terrible. And the Buddha asked him, well, king, I hear that you're here to protect us. That's a good thing. But what would happen if Angulimala changed his nature and became a man of peace and kindness and love? And the king thought about it a minute. He says, well, if he truly changed, I guess we would not have to kill him, would we? And the Buddha pointed, you see that serene monk right over there that you passed by and commented on how peaceful and kind he was? That man was once known as Angulimala. He has truly changed. Well, the king stepped back and said, no. The Buddha said, yep. And the king went by and looked at Angulimala and found no violence and no threat, and bowed to the Buddha and said, Buddha, your teachings truly permeate the whole universe. I don't believe this happened, but I'm so grateful that we don't have to kill anybody, and also that your dharma, your teachings reached out and saved a man who was a notorious murderer. Well, the people of the village still knew who Angulimala was, and they would often beat him up when he went on begging rounds with the other monks. He never fought back. He said, this is my lot. I have caused many people pain. One time in a forest, he encountered a woman who was in terrible childbirth pains and was laying on the forest floor. And Angulimala says, well, I don't know what to do, but stay here. I will get help or something. He went back to the Buddha. And the Buddha said, well, tell this woman you offer the merit of your life of purity to take away her pain. And Angulimala looked at the Buddha and said, well, I can't really do that. I've been a pretty nasty murderer. Not as terrible as Richard's been, but I've been pretty bad. And so Angulimala said, what else could I say? And the Buddha said, well, tell her that you offer the merit of your loving kindness practice. And Angulimala went back to the forest and offered the woman the merit of his practice, the merit of his change into a loving, kind, gentle man. And since that time, the woman delivered the child successfully without any complications and a lessening of pain and discomfort. And since that time, Angulimala has also been the patron of women who give birth for a gentle and ease of birth, gaining the merit of people who practice the way of the Dharma. Well, what does that mean for us today? Well, if you look at Jo there, I mean, she's had a pretty rough life, you know, biker chick, the whole thing. I'm making this up as I go along. Biker chick, you know, she's beat up Carol and Kate several times. I think she kicked Reverend Odin off the porch several times. And Lord knows what she's done to Tai Z. When Jo decided to follow the Dharma, the miracle that happened was her awareness and embracing of the Dharma and her embracing of the way of salvation and freedom from samsara. And today, Angulimala is the story that we tell people in prison. It's the story that we tell people regardless of what they've done and how rough they've been, whatever sins they may have done in the terms of harm against others, whatever kind of status they may have had before. Once they can embrace the Buddha's Dharma, they're freed from all previous karma, and they are freed from the attachment to samsara. So with that, if you look at Tam is now completely better than what she used to be. And sorry to pick on you, Tam. And I'm making this stuff up. Oh, she's got a puppy. This is too good. Making this stuff up as I go. So the goal of the whole talk about Angulimala is that all of us, for everything we've done, for every fault we've done, for everything of harm or any action we may have caused to cause others to suffer, or any action that may have tied us to the wheel of samsara, we can be free from that. We can embrace the Buddha's Dharma and live a life of kindness, serenity, and peace. And that's why I love the story of Angulimala. So the new year's starting. And with the new year, I have hope that even Jill can find a little kindness in her heart and be nice to people. And Jill, are you going to let that one pass? Oh my goodness.
I will try. It's going to be a lot of work, Thay, but I'll try.
But even Jill can find a moment of peace. And the story for Jill is our ambassador of goodwill. Anyone who comes in, Jill texts them and says hello and welcome. She is truly our ambassador of goodwill for everything here. So even Jill can be a peaceful, kind, loving person. And that's our journey with all of us. So for whatever we may have done, whatever harm we may have caused, whatever rudeness or disconcerting action we may have done, we can be free from that with one breath, free from that with one determination to follow the way of the Dharma. And my dear ones, that's my overview of Angulimala. Now, there's wonderful scientific studies about the possibility that he wasn't really a Brahmin and that he had been part of a violent caste before, that he affiliated with a caste of murderous cannibals and things like that. There's all sorts of stories that scholars have come up with. But I like the simple version I told you, and that's pretty close to the version you'll find in one of the Buddha's teachings, one of the stories, one of the great practices that the Buddha has passed on to this day. And with this, I'd like to go into meditation. But first, we have 3 minutes. Anybody here have any questions about Angulimala? Nope. All right. Thank you, Sangha. I hope this is a story that you'll carry with you and that you'll remember that no one is so structured, so limited by the things they've done that they cannot find the great peace and walk with that peace in this world. And I'm stopping recording now.